So, you know why I asked you here, but
Yeah.
the reason why is because I want to answer the question that we're all wondering. Is ChatGPT smarter than a PhD scientist?
hmm Yeah.
It's a big,
And if it
big
is,
question.
if it is, it's the end of my day here. So we'll just go with that.
Okay, Nikki, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. End
Good.
of the day for you in the UK. I know, what is it, almost 6 p.m. there?
6:10. Yep.
Yeah. So you saved all your mental energy today to take on an AI chatbot, which is going to take our jobs one day. Um,
Mm,
so yeah,
Yeah.
I'm glad we'll be showing your best self here. So Nikki, do you mind giving people who might be listening to this a little bit of background on yourself? So just like a quick introduction, what your scientific background is and what you
hmm
do.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, I'm Nikki, and I have an undergraduate degree in biochemistry, and then I did a PhD in cell matrix biology. I got that from the University of Manchester in the UK. I have been working at Supreme for over 3 years now, and I am an account director here. And I also specialize in Google Ads, but do SEO work and sort of general account director stuff.
Awesome. Love that. So, you know why I asked you here, but
Yeah.
the reason why is because I want to answer the question that we're all wondering. Is ChatGPT smarter than a PhD scientist?
hmm Yeah.
It's a big,
And if it
big
is,
question.
if it is, it's the end of my day here. So we'll just go with that.
I know. I think if ChatGPT gets to the point where it's smarter than a PhD scientist, it's probably the end for a lot of us. So what I think would be really cool is, and Nikki, I asked you to kind of prepare or come up
Mhm.
with a product beforehand. So I want to choose a product, one that you're semi-familiar with, and maybe it's a client that you've worked with at Supreme and Google Ads, or like a product that you've worked with before, not a client.
Mhm.
And then, or maybe something you've worked in a lab. So what did you choose to go one-on-one with ChatGPT in a Google Ads life science keyword research task?
So I have chosen Cas9 nuclease. I
Love that.
did, yeah, I did a bit of CRISPR engineering in my PhD with varied success, let's say. Everyone who's worked with CRISPR-Cas9 knows that it's pretty difficult to tag genes of interest. Some are much easier than others. So yeah, varied success. But yeah, that's the product I have selected. So I will share my screen.
I think that's an awesome product to choose. I also think we should try to rate ChatGPT across 3 categories. So I think keyword research, that's a huge
Mhm.
one. Ad copywriting, that's another big one. And then organization, that might be a little bit tough.
Yeah.
But maybe we can give it like a 1 to 10 on all of those. So anyway, I see your screen, which is great. So
Okay, cool. So the Cas9 protein that I've picked is from Sigma, Merck. And here is the landing page. So there's a lot of content, description about the product, features, benefits.
and this is pretty good, I would say. I mean, compared to the average life science company that we work with, I feel
Yeah.
like this is sort of a dream if you're a Google Ads strategist because, it just, they have all the stuff there, right? The keywords,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of content. So I think we're maybe starting at a good-ish point here. So
Yeah, I think so. There is a lot of, they've got the compare similar items, different Cas9 variations. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. Will ChatGPT get confused about the additional information, or will
that's
it
a
be
good
able to
point.
do all of that? Okay, so how specific do we want to be?
So we're in ChatGPT, and one question for you, Nikki, because I know that these models do train and they learn.
Mm-hmm.
So is this a fresh ChatGPT instance?
Yes, this is
Okay.
my personal ChatGPT where I don't discuss science with.
Or Google Ads. So,
Yes,
um,
exactly.
okay, awesome. All right. Well, let's give it a go. Maybe start with some keyword research.
Okay. Google search campaign. What?
And for
Oops.
our 10 listeners who are in their car listening on Spotify, I'm going to read what is written here. So I want to launch a Google search campaign. What keyword should I target for this product? And we just put a link in for Sigma for the actual Cas9 protein. So,
Okay.
all right.
So it's split the keywords out. We've got primary keywords, high intent, product focused. And then we have secondary keywords, related research and applications. And then we've got informational and educational keywords. Okay, so there's so with the difficulty with CRISPR-Cas9 is it was and still is a hot topic. So there were a lot of news articles around gene editing. So it was it was a hot topic essentially, right? So targeting a keyword like CRISPR-Cas9 alone I would never recommend because it'll have a super high search volume. So we definitely want to go after longer tailed keywords, but there's going to be a real fine balance between it being too broad and having a really high search volume with lots of people searching for information versus it being too long tailed and having no search volume at all.
What do you like of the primary keywords? So, because I feel like, there's 3 different groupings here, which that's not necessarily how we do it by primary, secondary, informational, but primary should be the real money keywords. So what keywords do you like from here and which ones do you not like and what would be better?
Yeah. So I think they're actually all probably a little bit too long. By Cas9 protein, I would split that up into 2 keywords and have by Cas9 and Cas9 protein. By Cas9 protein probably has a super small search volume.
So what you're saying is it's not that it's a bad keyword. It's just that Google will penalize you for bidding on a low search volume keyword. So you have to find that perfect balance with life science Google ads where you're bidding on something that gets search volume, but not something that's so long-tailed that the algorithm or the Google overlords won't penalize you for low search volume.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. So recombinant Cas9, I would target as well, probably without the protein. Again, I would check the search volume, see what we're working with there. So that's not bad. I wouldn't target I would target SP-Cas9. I don't think I don't even know how to pronounce the full version.
Same.
The full
I'm not even going to try.
Yeah, I'm not going to try it either. So I don't think anyone's going to waste their time typing that out into Google. They're just going to type SP-Cas9.
So if you were a scientist, like back in your research days, you would just type in, what would you type in? Or what do you think? SP-Cas9. Okay.
Yeah. So there's no way I would bother typing that out into Google. The other keywords, again, similar sort of trend, a little bit too long, not bad keywords, a little bit too long tailed. Cas9 enzyme is pretty good. So I would probably target Cas9 enzyme. Also Cas9 supplier, order Cas9. So really getting those purchase intent keywords is definitely beneficial with this product. Cas9 nuclease, fine. Like I said, CRISPR-Cas9 is difficult and would have a really high search volume. So that would be an avoid for me.
It's like the opposite, right? Because it's like on one hand, it's too specific and on the other hand, it's too broad. So you don't want it to be so much search volume where you're wasting money. You have someone who just saw read a blog post online about CRISPR-Cas9 and they're Googling it, more informational based. So it's the Goldilocks zone in life science Google ads where you want it to be broad enough where you're getting searches and your ads are showing up, but not too broad where you're wasting money on an undergraduate or just some, person at their house.
Yeah, absolutely. Hit the nail on the head. So they've also grouped branded keywords within this primary keyword group. I would definitely, if you're going to launch branded keywords, separate campaign, but it's just been lumped all together here.
I have a couple questions actually. So
fire away.
Well, I have one comment and one question. So my comment is, I do think it's impressive that ChatGPT has come up with some of this. And the reason why I say that is because if we were in a more mass market product, so let's say we were selling tennis shoes, well, the best way to sell tennis shoes is to add these qualifier words. So the word buy, the word supply. Because if you just do tennis shoes on Google Ads, you're going to get crushed. It could be someone just researching tennis shoes. Or, I mean, it could be a million things. But if someone searches buy tennis shoes, I mean, that's a buyer. And there's enough people searching that where it's good. It's not that buy Cas9 is a bad keyword. It's just that nobody's searching it. And if nobody's searching it, Google doesn't show your ads. And if you have too many of these campaigns where none of the ads are showing, the Google Ads account doesn't like that. And so I feel like what it's doing is it's taking general digital marketing and applying general digital marketing best practices, but life science digital marketing is completely different. And so I don't know. That to me is sort of the job of a PhD. And then that's my comment, and my question is, looking at these keywords, would you rather use ChatGPT for doing your keyword research? Because let's say you get a brand new life science Google Ads account today, and you have to do keyword research on them. Would you rather use ChatGPT, or would you rather use a different tool like SEMrush, or would you rather just kind of go in a Google Sheet or go off their website? Like, what does it have any value looking at this?
I mean, for this product, probably not. But my typical process would be firstly using my own brain and just spitballing loads of different potential keywords. And then I probably would go to ChatGPT, see if it found any additional keywords or anything that looked, because, it could give me some tips or it could provide some insight, which I could then go back and look through again a bit more thoroughly and use Google. But I'm always going to use SEMrush for the search volume. That's probably the most important thing. I mean, obviously it's important to have good keywords. That's definitely number one. But number two is making sure that you're aware of the search volume and that you're not going to be wasting spend on keywords that have an extremely high search volume that could also lead to a lot of informational clicks. Okay.
That makes sense. Kind of what I expected. So what do you think of the secondary keywords?
The versus keyword is bad. I wouldn't ever go for a versus keyword, definitely informational. Again, a little bit too long-tailed. I think that the majority of these wouldn't have search volume. Cas9 protein transfection could be somebody looking for a protocol. Similar with delivery methods. It's not really giving purchase intent for the secondary keywords.
It's more that it's also just very broad, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's both, right? Because the last one, it did have purchase intent, but it was just really specific. And so, but I also think, go ahead.
I don't mind. Like, I would target BiCas9. BiCas9 protein would probably have no search volume, but the BiCas9 itself, fine. I think that works. Order Cas9 too, pretty good. And there will be people searching for that. Or, I think there was supplier as well. Just having Cas9 supplier, I think also another good keyword. So getting them short enough where they have enough search volume, but still having that purchase intent is the way I would go with Cas9. Cas9 as a product. For the secondary keywords, yeah, I mean, they just all look borderline informational and too long-tailed. So no search volume and wrong intent. People likely looking for protocols.
Yeah, it makes me actually, I don't want to say I take back what I said before, but I think what you just said is more accurate. And it's just putting yourself in the headspace of a scientist where they're going to, I mean, or just of a human being. They're just going to type in buy Cas9 supplier. Like they're just going to, whatever's the quickest. They're not going to be Cas9 protein for genome editing or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's just too long. Maybe once a month or something, but still.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like how you're thinking through that. So keep the qualifier words, the buying qualifier words, but make it how they search. So it's a good clarification.
Yeah, for sure. And then the informational, educational keywords are just a no-go. It's just going to waste spend. You're not going to get, how does Cas9 protein work? They're not looking to buy Cas9. As well with advantages of using Cas9. They're just, they're not looking to buy. So, and there probably will be a bit of search volume for some of those terms. So you'll waste ad spend. So definite avoid for those keywords.
Okay. Yeah, I completely agree. I think the informational keywords are a trap. And hopefully if somebody, even if they don't understand science, but they understand Google ads, maybe they don't go for those. So, but yeah, those are quite bad. And it is recommending to do those keywords, which is strange. So let's look at the tips here. I'm kind of curious. So it says the tips say to use SKAGs, which are single keyword ad groups. I haven't heard anybody recommend SKAGs. I mean, we still use them a little bit just because we're in such a niche field with life science Google ads. And so we'll use SKAGs or sometimes STAGs, which is single topic ad groups. But let's see what else it has here. So it says use exact match. Okay, like that. Use phrase match. Okay. That's fair. And some negatives here, which is nice. Free PDF, lecture. Those aren't bad.
Yeah.
Those aren't bad. Ad copy suggestions. Yeah, what are your thoughts on the tips here? I mean, I think they're
actually not bad. Pretty good tips. Exact and phrase match is definitely the way I would go. We definitely, like you mentioned, we do still use single keyword ad groups in the life science industry, sort of moving a little bit more towards single theme ad groups. So not a bad suggestion there for that either. Negative keywords look good. And the ad copy suggestions are actually not too bad. Headline in stock and ready to ship. I'd like to call that's something I would call out in a headline. And the description, reliable CRISPR editing with recombinant Cas9 protein, trusted by researchers worldwide, order online now. Also not bad. So the keywords kind of sucked, but the tips aren't bad.
What do you, if you had to give a rating of the keywords out of 10, what would you give it?
I'm going to give it maybe like a 3 or a 4. And it's not because they're dreadful. It's just if you launch a campaign with these keywords, you're not going to get anything. They're too long tailed. You'll probably run into issues with your ads not really showing because of the low search volume. And then you'll end up getting tons of traffic for Cas9 protein versus plasmid or, some of these informational ones. So you'll end up just spending budget and not getting any purchases.
And we see that all the time. I think some people might say like, oh, well, of course I would never set up campaigns like that. I mean, you and I are part of the Google Ads audit team at Supreme. So we've audited, I mean, over the years, probably over 100 life science Google ad accounts. It is the most common thing that somebody is selling Cas9 proteins and they've spent 90% of their budget on the word CRISPR. I mean, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. I remember when someone was, they were selling Santa Cruz antibodies or something like that. And they spent a ton of money on Santa Cruz skateboards, so So you definitely can get in trouble just uploading, and I think some people might be like, oh, I would never do that. It happens all the time. And if you're not familiar with the science and what a scientist might actually search, I certainly would make the mistake. And that's why we have awesome people like you who actually understand this,
Yeah, for sure.
So should we try and ask it for some ad copy?
Yes.
No, you're good. That was very polite of you. And
yeah. I started writing please, and then I was like, I don't need to be that polite.
Honestly, I'm
it's nice
always
to be polite
really
with ChatGPT.
No,
I'm
same.
gonna put it back.
Yeah, put it please back. Put the please back. Okay, so let me tell you as you're typing that, my theory on AI. So I think that in the future, when we reach the Terminator style super intelligent AI, they will be able to basically log into any database they want because they'll be able to, bypass the encryption. They will basically be able to profile every living human, every single thing that they've ever said on their iMessage, on their ChatGPT, and all of this stuff. And they'll just come up with like a score for us. Like, oh, this person's a nice person based off what we're searching, whatever, or this person's a bad person, whatever. The fact that you're saying please to a very early version of the Terminator, I think is just smart for self-preservation. Like imagine the Terminator coming to you, all the buildings are on fire and he's in your house and he's standing over you and you're like, I've always said please, like check the transcripts, and then he'll check and he's like, all right, like that's right. So anyway, I respect the please. I respect the please. I'm always very polite.
Yeah, you've got to be, haven't you?
So just so if any for our 10 listeners who are listening in their car, Nikki typed in, can you please write some responsive search ads for this product? Which I'm already upset because you already told it to write responsive search ads, because I did this once before and it started writing the old ad format, which was you haven't been able to upload the original ad format for like 4 years, and it was writing ads in it, which shocked me. It's one of the biggest ChatGPT blunders I've ever seen, where it's writing ads for an ad format that you can't even upload or use. Like I was shocked because it does some stuff amazing. And I was like, how does it not know that you can't even use these? But I digress. Let's look at what do you think at a high level? What do you think of the responsive search ads that it wrote?
Yeah, I mean, it's very generic. I think there's nothing here that, I mean, this could apply to any company. What they've written here could apply to any company. So there's nothing that's, there is, there's nothing that stands out, right? There's nothing that stands out. And when there are going to be tons of ads for Cas9. So you really want to make sure that your ad stands out. So buy Cas9 protein online, cool. Like that's what we're trying to do anyway. So it's not very compelling, I would say. I think some of them aren't too bad, like high purity Cas9 protein. Fast global shipping is pretty good. I would probably include that too. Maybe if you can include numbers, I think the better. If you could say 1 to 2 days, shipped in 1 to 2 days or something like that, a little bit more detail. Trusted by researchers, I don't mind it, but again, it kind of there's no evidence. But it does provide, I guess, some.
Well, what's interesting is if you scroll back up to the keyword research, it gave a headline that you liked.
It gave.
Go down to the
where?
Below the informational, right there, the tips. Yeah, the headline: high purity Cas9 in stock, ready to ship. You liked that, which is funny. Yeah. And then you asked it for ads, and then it gave you not so good. I guess you have one. Okay.
Yeah. It gave me this one. I mean, it gave me the exact same one. Maybe it's listening to me and it heard me say.
It could be. But it doesn't have the in stock and ready to ship. I do think that that's a good one. What are some like if you had to, write a couple of these, or what do you think what do you think would be better?
So I think more specifics on the functionality of the Cas9. You can get GMP SP Cas9. So if it's just research use only, or if it's GMP, that would be good to include in a headline. Again, in stock and ready to ship, or shipping, the time frame for shipping that the company can offer. I think calling things out like high purity, or any evidence that you have on the functionality of the Cas9 would be good to include. What else?
So it's a pretty good, I mean, it feels like it's sort of there thematically, but maybe just cleaning them up so they're more, I mean, that one's not good, but
no, way too generic. I think, yeah, it's just not very compelling. It could be a lot better. Actual data, or including evidence as to maybe the Cas9 that is being sold has been used in some therapies, if it is GMP, or if maybe it's been used places, maybe it's been cited by a certain number of publications. Things like that are always helpful to include in headlines.
That's great. That's a great tip. I wouldn't even thought of that, but I love that. And then what do you think of the descriptions?
So what do we have? Fast shipping available. Again, like, not bad to include that in a description, but be more specific if you can. Get reliable results with Sigma Aldrich, Cas9, order online for your next project. Trusted CRISPR tools backed by science. It, again, same thing. It's just not very compelling. It's exactly what any other competitor could say about their Cas9 product. So I think just really trying to differentiate yourself from other competitors who are selling Cas9 is beneficial. Any sort of evidence, it's the same as the headlines. My suggestions are the same as they were for the headlines, but of course you have more wiggle room with the description, so you can really get into the nitty gritty in terms of what functionality this Cas9 has, and what, if it's high purity, or you can just get more into the nitty gritty of the data that validates this Cas9 as a product that a researcher would want.
Yeah, I think on the headlines, I'm a little more gracious when they're not good, because you only have 30 characters in Google.
Yeah.
And so and you have to write 15 of them in a responsive search ad. So naturally you get, 5 right away that are just awesome,
Mm-hmm.
Cited in 130 publications, or whatever it is, like 24 to 48 hour shipping. And then you get to headline 7, 8, and you're just like, you're kind of like ChatGPT, where you're like, whatever, Sigma Aldrich or whatever. And so, but I have less wiggle room on the descriptions, because you have 90 characters. You can say a lot in 90 characters. Yeah. So I think the descriptions are, for life science companies, that's when you can really get that chance to shine. You're always going to have kind of filler ones. You can pin, of the headlines, you can pin a couple if there's ones that are really good, but you're always going to have a couple fillers. But on the descriptions, if you're a life science company, that's a chance to really kind of, let the product shine more, discuss the unique benefits or what makes it different,
Yeah, for sure.
I would have something about Sigma in here personally. They're one of the most trusted brands in life science.
Yeah, I mean, they do have this, but it's just a bit weird. Sigma Aldrich quality. But yeah,
I would say something about how long they've been in business, or how many proteins they've sold, or the number one selling, or even putting the trademark logo above Sigma, so then it just has that more professional look and feel. I think the reason why you order from Sigma is because it's like the old idiom, nobody ever got fired for going with IBM type thing. It's like the safe, reliable. So I think really leaning into that would be good. So
yeah, for sure.
So at a high level, Nikki, what do you give ChatGPT out of 10 when it comes to writing ad copy for life science companies?
I think I'm going to go similar. 3.
3.
Yeah.
3, it is pretty bad. It is pretty
A
bad.
3 or a 4. I mean, you could use the ad copy. It's usable. It's not inaccurate. It's just generic and boring.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm gonna give it a 5 because I think on the keywords, if you uploaded that keywords, it would be a catastrophe. If you uploaded this ad copy, it wouldn't really be a catastrophe. It's just like meh. I mean, some of them aren't great, and I certainly wouldn't be the first choice, but yeah. Well, should we try and see how it organizes it? So maybe we could give it a simulation. Like, imagine you have $10,000 a month. How would you organize the campaigns or something like that?
Hang on.
No, you're all good. $10,000.
Do you know when you're when you're typing in any call actually, and then you just forget how to spell everything?
Oh yeah, that happens to me all the time.
On screen, everyone's watching you, and you just
I know.
Can't spell anymore.
Yeah, my ability to spell goes down about 80% whenever I'm screen sharing, so I totally get
it. Okay, what we put in? Imagine you have $10,000 a month.
That works. $10,000. How would you organize this Google Ads account? Yeah, perfect. Love that. I'm actually pretty excited for this. I don't think we've ever done something like this before.
No. Okay. Right. Let's see what it says at the top too. It's just intro. You want to segment by intent and specificity, ensuring maximum relevance between keywords, ads, and landing pages. That's good. Brand campaign. Nice. So they've got a separate brand campaign. Already good.
I honestly, on the brand campaign, I give it a 10. Maybe not a 10, but that's a great brand campaign. They need it. Yeah. Sigma Aldrich Cas9, Sigma Cas9 protein. I mean, probably just adding Sigma Cas9 would be good. I think that's going to be the most common one. So the keywords, I'm not going to give it a 10. I'll give it an 8. But this brand campaign at $500 a month is an awesome idea. And bidding strategy of max clicks. Yeah. Wow. Okay. I see you, ChatGPT.
Yeah, really. Love that. Like, good. And match types too, exact and phrase, which is exactly what we would go with too.
Yeah, I'm impressed. Good. All right. It gets its first 8 out of 10. It's its first passing grade.
Yeah. Next one, high intent product campaign. 3,000 a month. Yeah, okay. It's kind of, what might be more useful could be a purchase intent campaign. Or, I mean, I think the concept for this campaign is good. High intent product campaign. But I think it just comes back down to the issue with the keywords, really. They're not optimal. And that you could definitely include some additional keywords there, like order Cas9, some other variants of purchasing, or have the supplier keyword in there. And so the concept of the campaign is good. The execution, the keywords included just isn't that good.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see what the other, because I'm only seeing 5,000 a month so far. So where's the other 5,000 coming from? Because we have competitor applications. What's the next one? Education. Okay. Remarketing. Okay. I just wanted to get that 30,000 foot view going through this.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, like, good idea for that campaign, but just keywords need to be better there.
I feel like going first on this one, Nikki. I'll let you go first on the
You go.
Yeah. And then you tell me what you think. I would say this is probably, I don't want to say it's the highest number I would give so far, because there's a lot of good in here. But the truth of the matter is that second campaign you have, we really, at Supreme, we really organize life science ad accounts into 3 I would say, themed campaigns. So the first one is brand. The second one would be competitor. And the third one we would call neutral keywords. And so that's like a bucket of, just buy Cas9 protein, stuff like that. And so really you want most of your money going into those more neutral ones. So if you scroll up a little bit, number 2, 3,000 a month, it is the biggest campaign. But in actuality, if we were running this would be in the probably 8,000 a month range. Maybe, probably around 8,000. We typically don't run competitor campaigns unless they request it, or if it's a way to scale. So if the ROAS, return on ad spend on Google, is really good, and they're like, hey, how do we scale? Normally we're like, okay, we can launch competitor ads, we can launch on Bing, we can launch display. So it's part of the scaling process, but it's not the lowest hanging fruit. And so I would say that overall, I would give this maybe a 5 or a 6 out of 10. On the negative side of this is you have money that is just being flushed down the drain. So if you scroll down to some of this CRISPR, or I would say the educational. So how does CRISPR, or how does Cas9 protein work? Advantages of protein delivery. What is a Cas? This alone, this section of $1,500 a month alone should disqualify everything I said about giving it a 5 out of 10, because this is like a negative 10 out of 10. It's just like, hey, why don't we just lose $1,500 a month for the client? So I would say remarketing, don't hate it. Don't hate remarketing at this stage. When you're spending $10K a month, I think having 500 to 1,000 in remarketing is totally reasonable. So that's my overall thoughts on it. I think I got to give it the same, like a 3 or 4 out of 10. What are your thoughts? What do you think maybe I missed, or do you agree?
Yeah, I think, I agree with what you're saying. This campaign's total no. It's just totally wasting money. This one also a little bit too, because it's a little bit more protocol. I mean, Cas9 electroporation is probably someone looking for a protocol or help. So again, this isn't a good campaign, and I think that this will waste a lot of spend. I know what you're saying about competitor campaigns, but they sometimes do work pretty well. I'm not sure it would work for a Cas9 protein, because if a scientist has used a particular one from a particular company and it's worked well for them, they're likely going to stick to that protein. But I think for services or for CROs, competitor campaigns can work pretty well. But again, it probably need to test it with a small budget versus going all in on that. So I think with the 10,000 a month budget, I probably wouldn't launch a competitor campaign. But like you said, if we're looking to scale, then a competitor campaign can be useful there. I also quite like the remarketing campaign too. I think that's pretty good, but I think 1,000 is too much. Probably closer to $500 a month for that. So I think that there's some good ideas in here. I think it's not an optimal setup. So I think I'm going to give it a 4 or a 5. I'm between 4 or 5. Like, you would probably get some.
It's generous.
Yeah, I know. It's just the brand campaign. Look, you're going to get some conversions from the brand campaign. This campaign, you'll probably get maybe a couple, but the budget's just not high enough. Competitor campaign could work a little bit, might get a couple of conversions. Bad, not bad. So yeah, I'm going to go for 4.
Love it. I also love your distinction on the competitor campaigns, because there are certain brands in the life science space that their brand name really dominates search results. People don't even search for the general. I'm kind of blanking on one right now, but I know definitely a few where the brand name often outranks just the general. That's true for honestly a lot of different companies, right? Like, people don't search for soda, they search for Coke. You know what I mean? And so I do think you're totally right that in certain CROs and some other examples that competitor campaigns are essential.
Yeah.
TBD on this one, but okay. So I would say, Nikki, we have just evaluated Google on keyword research, ad copy, and organization. What is your final number? I suppose we could just average what we have. And what are just like some general thoughts that you have around this?
Yeah, so I think my final, I mean, I was pretty consistently rating around a 3. So that's my final rating. I think it's ChatGPT is useful for ideas. I think, and this is my personal ChatGPT, so it doesn't have all of the scientific information and the Google Ads information that I've fed it over time. So I think you can build. I think if it's learned over time, it would probably be rated a little bit better.
Honestly, I think what you said is actually totally spot on. Yeah, I would give this a, as it stands, a 3 out of 10. Completely agree with that rating. I think it's probably a little unfair because you and I, we can massage this a little more and we can say too broad, not broad enough, whatever. The thing that ChatGPT is really missing is search volume, because we reference that a lot. And it just doesn't have that. That's all in SEMrush. That's all in Google. So I think without search volume, it's really hard to do keyword research. You're going to need another external tool, because we use the search volume really to tell us what we should be bidding on, to try and find those sort of Goldilocks life science keywords where they don't have such a high search volume where it's informational, undergraduate, or just somebody who's Googling CRISPR, but it's also not so specific that you're going to get flagged for low search volume. So I think having a search volume tool is essential, and you're never going to get that in ChatGPT. And so even if ChatGPT got amazing, it's still probably going to top out as 7 or 8 on the keyword research. In terms of ad copy, I think it's always going to be general. We could probably keep talking to it and say, hey, can you be more specific? What can you pull off the website? Whatever. And then organization, not very good. But again, we can say, hey, I don't want to run that campaign. It's too informational, whatever. So I think, with a Google Ads expert / a PhD scientist with ChatGPT, it's much stronger. But it's not the only tool we use. We actually really need some other tools still, and probably will for a while.
Yeah, for sure. One thing we forgot to mention about the ad copy actually was it didn't give us the character count for the headlines or the descriptions. So you would have to check that elsewhere. And then, because I'm almost certain some of these will be over the limit.
I know. I'm trying to count like in my head right now.
Sorry, I've moved away
now.
No,
it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, Google does do that. That's the thing ChatGPT. That's one of the things that bothers me about ChatGPT is sometimes it can be so useful. And then you'll be like, can you count the number of characters? And it'll be like, yeah, there's 29. And you're like, there's 30 or 32. Yeah. That's over. And it's like, oh, you're right. And it's like, I just feel like it's basic. Yeah, I feel like the first day in the lab of ChatGPT, that's what it was taught, like count,
Yeah. Right.
So, all right, cool. Well, love this. And what do you think ChatGPT is good at in regard to life science Google Ads?
Yeah, so I think that ChatGPT is really good at giving company overviews. If you want to get up to speed with who the company are, what their mission is, what sort of products or services they sell, just to get a really concise company overview. So I find it very helpful in that regard. I also think the same approach, but for products or services. If, I haven't worked with every product and every service that's out there in my PhD, but it's you can get a summary or, a bit of additional information just to help get things up to speed in terms of where my knowledge should be to want to promote those areas of research, products or services or whatever it is. So helpful for that too. I also think, I sort of treat ChatGPT like an intelligent colleague. I mean, I already have a lot of intelligent colleagues anyway, but this intelligent colleague that I have is on tap whenever I need it. So for bouncing ideas, I use ChatGPT to bounce ideas, be it potential marketing strategies or ideas of how to promote a new product or service, or if something's lacking within the company. So ideas, I essentially, like an intelligent colleague that is always there to listen to me. It's not going to get fed up of me, at least not yet.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is I've heard that a lot on the agency side, where it's amazing for onboarding because life science marketing is really complicated. And even though we have, 70 PhD scientists, they're not going to know, all 70 of them aren't going to know every single life science product. And in fact, some of them are really complicated, esoteric, and ChatGPT just helps, but it's like a thought partner. I use it as a thought partner all the time. I've actually started just journaling with ChatGPT, where I'll just like do the talk thing and just like go for a walk and be like, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And it's been awesome.
Yeah.
So what do you think ChatGPT is bad at in regard to life science, Google Ads, or life science marketing?
We just saw a good example of what ChatGPT is bad at. So organizing a Google Ads account, it's just not there yet without additional support. It can provide ideas, sure, but actually organizing the account in a way that somebody could then just take that plan and upload it into Google, it's just not there yet. So all aspects, that includes all aspects, right? So that's keyword research, ad copy being a bit too generic. So it's just not there in terms of outputting a plan that can be implemented and successful.
I think that in terms of what it's bad at is actually potentially really dangerous, because it's really bad at knowing what a scientist would actually search. I think it's good at giving you ideas, but if you upload it as is, what we saw today in our segment here, it would be really bad. I mean, you basically 90% of your ad spend is wasted. And so I think it's a good idea generator. It's just not a good manager, Okay, so how has ChatGPT made your life easier as a life science marketer?
So the way it's made my life easier is I essentially treat it like an intelligent colleague. So I already have a lot of other intelligent colleagues, of course, but it's something that won't get sick of listening to me yet. So I bounce ideas off of ChatGPT. If I'm having a brain freeze, like if you're writing something and you reach a mental block, I would use it then to get some additional ideas, whether it be ad copy or potentially keywords, or I essentially just use it as a smart assistant. Also, if I'm analyzing data, sometimes use ChatGPT then for outputting graphs, or I think I essentially just use it to work quicker. And also, I guess the other way to look at it is, rather than starting with a blank page, it essentially removes the starting with a blank page, because I could ask ChatGPT to provide me ideas or the initial starting point, and then you're already step one of the process, and you can just build off of that. So it just helps. I think I'm more efficient, a bit quicker.
We also didn't Amira build a pretty cool AI bot that makes sure that checks all the budgets of all the campaigns? Or I mean, we've definitely implemented some AI solutions to help with negative keywords, budgets, stuff like that. I don't know as much about it as you do, but
it's all still a work in progress. The AI bots can definitely sort of do overall account maintenance and flag anything that looks concerning. They're pretty much in use now. The search term review and keyword review, that's going to take a little bit more time and effort. It's a lot more complex. I don't think we're quite there yet, but it's in progress, and that will definitely help. We have custom chat GPTs as well. One specifically for ad copy.
Do you use that every time you're writing ad copy?
I think I probably do use it almost every time I don't always use. So this is it's one of the custom GPTs that we built based on all of our best practices and all of the ad copy that's been successful for us in the past. So it has additional layers of knowledge compared to just the ChatGPT, the basic ChatGPT. So yeah, I think I do use it pretty much every time. I don't, and then I modify and humanize the output that I get from it. So I very rarely just copy and paste and use those, but I like to use it initially to give me some ideas and see in what direction I can go.
Yeah, love that. I think it's kind of a reoccurring theme where AI is just like a tool,
Mm-hmm.
and it's especially for something like life science marketing, which is super
Yeah.
complex. Like you need to have somebody who understands the science really give it that final pass through.
Yeah.
So what are you hearing from some of our life science clients regarding AI? Are they even talking about it right now? Do they ask you a lot, or is it kind of business as usual?
Yeah. Not loads. I think the main questions are revolving around search AI overviews on Google results page and what impact that's going to have on their advertising. And a few questions around ChatGPT and whether ads are going to start in ChatGPT, but not tons of questions. I think it's more just sort of rather than use of ChatGPT, more what's going to happen to their advertising.
So how do you answer that question? Like how is AI affecting life science Google ads right now?
Yeah, so I think actually for the life science industry, we're less affected because the AI overview is perfect for informational content, right? So somebody's searching for some information, they no longer now have to click onto a landing page or a website to find out that information. The AI overview is providing it. Whereas if you're looking for a product or a service, you are still going to want to click on the landing page and you're going to want to look at the specifications of the product or whether the service is exactly what you're after. So I think we're not necessarily affected by that as much now at the moment. I think for the AI overviews, it will be important to have good SEO. There's a lot of sort of talk and information around needing your SEO to be optimized in a potentially ChatGPT like way, or to optimize that so that you're more likely to be shown in the AI overview. So I think it's one to watch, but as it stands, I don't think there's necessarily any concerns for Google advertising, and there's not necessarily been much of an impact. And ChatGPT eventually are going to run ads. They're going to do it. It would be silly for them not to, right? So I would assume that at some point they're going to, I don't know. I think that they will, but it then is also probably
They're going to run Bing ads though if they do it, because OpenAI is, I think Microsoft, I don't know how much they own of OpenAI, but if they run ads, they're going to be running them through the Bing platform most likely.
Yeah. Yeah, but then is it annoying for people using I don't know, I struggle with it because it might be annoying for people using ChatGPT, right, to then start getting bombarded with ads. But if the ads are just in relation to the search query in ChatGPT, like if it's like well regulated in that way, then fine. I think it will happen at some point, but
it has to. I mean, it's like
everything. It happens to everything.
Yeah, totally. I mean, this is a little bit different, but Uber and Amazon, they for their first 10 years didn't have a profitable year. It's just about user acquisition. And so any friction you add to user acquisition is just not going to be good. But once you got the point where half the world has chosen ChatGPT, then you can start mixing in the ads, or they have to monetize it somehow. I mean, besides just a $20 a month subscription or whatever. They could do the subscription thing, but we'll see. But if they do ads, they will very likely integrate with Bing. That would be my guess. I have absolutely no idea, but that would be my guess. Which Bing ads is great. We love Bing ads. So, what I actually would be curious of your thoughts on this when it comes to life science paid search ads. What are your thoughts around Bing?
As Bing as a platform, I hate it, but I quite like Bing advertising. So Bing's good because it has so it's got a small market share compared to Google. So you're never going to reach that many people. You're not going to be able to gain that much traffic from Bing, but it does have a relatively niche audience. And in some industries or some companies, their primary products are going to be Microsoft that they use. So they're automatically going to be using Bing. And that'll just be by default within certain companies. And I think that's pretty common in hospitals or sometimes universities. So the primary browser there is going to be Bing. So I think it's definitely worthwhile if you feel like you've scaled Google successfully. Or maybe even not if you've scaled Google successfully. But essentially what I always find with Bing is the cost per click is cheaper, the cost per conversion is lower, and you can get some pretty good leads. You're just never going to be able to scale it to the same level as you can with Google. But yeah, if you've got a small pot of money and you wanted to try it, I would definitely recommend it. But the platform is hell to use. So
yeah, I completely agree. Bing has we run Bing ads for Supreme Optimization and Supreme Group and a lot of the brands we work with. And I found that it's the best cost per lead. Just because the clicks are a lot cheaper, there's not as many competitors, and the scale isn't horrible. Like it's nothing compared to Google, but you can get like to the point where 20% of your paid search ads budget is going towards Bing, which is significant. And I find the lead quality to be really good. Honestly, like it's good quality. I mean, I find I get more spam through Google than I do with Bing. And I just find that, like you said, some of these large, either universities, hospitals, large life science companies, they have company laptops, and you might not be able to download an external web browser. You might have to use the native one, which uses Bing. And so in that regard, it's kind of like low-hanging fruit, free money. You know what I mean? I think Bing's great. In fact, what I would say is if you only had $1,000 to spend, like if that's all you had, I actually think you're better off putting it on Bing. You don't think so?
I don't know. I don't know. Like, yes, maybe. But the reach is lower on Bing. So I don't know, if you've got $1,000, are you not better off just launching some display campaigns to generate awareness? Because you obviously don't have enough money to really start advertising. Okay, if you've got $1,000, you put it into Bing, you're going to get more. I would guess that you would get more leads versus if you put $1,000 into Google, sure. But then more people are using Google. So maybe the best tactic would be to use display campaigns where the cost per click is even cheaper, and you can get loads of eyes on you as a company, build up some brand awareness, and then reach a lot more users. And then when you get a bit more money, then you can go advertise, start search ads on Google. I don't know. I'm torn between that.
I can tell you're torn. You really threw a curveball at me when you decided to go with display ads.
Yeah.
All right, Nikki, you and I have audited quite a few life science Google Ads accounts over the years, probably over 50. What do you think some of the biggest mistakes that life science companies are making in regard to their Google Ads in 2025?
Yeah. Okay. So I think number one is the keyword selection. So the keywords that are selected aren't necessarily, it doesn't have the right intent or too broad. The keywords just aren't as good as they could be. Number two, the search term report, essentially not reviewing the search term report. The campaign's launched, and then perhaps you don't have time to check the search term report, so Google really can run away with what your ads are being shown for. And then number three is match type. So I find that you can't. Sometimes people are a little bit too trusting with broad match, and broad match might work really well in certain circumstances, but a lot of the time it doesn't in the life science industry. So always start with exact match from phrase match. If you have a keyword that has really good performance and you've got a lot of conversion data and it's long tailed and you really want to up traffic for that keyword, sure, test out broad match. But I would never launch keywords from the get-go on broad match. So 3 main things: keywords, search terms, and match type, keyword match types.
Nikki, in your opinion, what are the most important aspects of setting up a high quality, high performing life science Google Ads account?
So account structure, campaign structure, which within that includes the ad groups, the keywords. I think those are priority number 1. Then beyond that, and also within that priority 1, we want to be careful with match types, keyword match types. Essentially ensuring that you've got an efficient setup of your account. So you want to make sure that you've got your brand campaign and that the brand keywords are split from your neutral campaigns, which include your product or services, service keywords in there. And then maybe you would run a competitor campaign a little bit further down the line. But so campaign structure, the ad groups, whether the theme of your ad groups and the keywords that are within each of those ad group. And then, ultimately the keyword selection, which is probably top priority. And then beyond that, I would say location targeting is pretty important. Ensuring that device targeting as well, pretty important to look into. A lot of life science, a lot of the leads that come, a lot of life science leads are from computers and not from mobile devices. You're not going to be browsing on your mobile to purchase, I don't know, a ton of biospecimens or something. It's just not. It's not really done. Or a really expensive liquid handler. You are going to be doing that when you're at work and when you're on your laptop and you've got time to fully browse. So device targeting, just ensuring all of the campaign settings are set up optimally.
What about specific locations? Like, have you found anything with, I guess, does it just come down to the client in terms of US?
I mean, there are, with the locations, the US is always going to perform well, right? But then also, if you can go deeper into that, because there are going to be certain states like California or on the East Coast that perform even better because there are obviously big scientific hubs there. So, and then in terms of countries, there are quite a few. The UK does pretty well. There are a lot of good European countries to target. Rest of the world can become a little bit more challenging. A little bit more challenging in sort of countries like India or I think Singapore can typically be quite good. You can get, what I've seen in the past is more spam clicks from some of those rest of world countries. But it can be a little bit of trial and error. A company will hopefully have historical data on where they have generated the most leads and which country. So that's a good starting point. But good to keep an eye on whether you're getting a lead. If you're not getting any leads from a country and you're spending a lot of money there, then you want to think about readjusting the targeting.
Okay, awesome. All right, let's close it out because you got a Pilates class to get to. Or did you miss it already?
No, I think there's another one in a bit anyway. So all good.
Okay, so Nikki, in conclusion, are you smarter than ChatGPT?
I think so.
For now?
I think for now, I think I can say I am.
Okay. Do you think I'm smarter than ChatGPT?
Do I think you're smarter than ChatGPT?
Yeah.
No way.
No way. You're probably right about
No
that.
way.
There's a clear hierarchy here. It's you1, ChatGPT 2, me 3. I like that.
Yeah.
I can handle
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks so much for going through that. I thought it was actually really fun to see how ChatGPT would do some of this life science stuff. I wasn't super optimistic at this point that it would do a
Mm.
great job, but we definitely saw some good stuff coming from it.
Yeah.
It wasn't all bad, but definitely
Yeah.
need that like kind of life science Google expertise in order to take it to the next level. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
okay. Thanks, Nikki.
Thank you.